Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kubeflow bi-weekly Model Registry meetings. Today is August 18. Thank you for everybody who joined and everybody who's watching the recording through the YouTube playlist on the Kubeflow community channel. This meeting is being recorded. Indeed, you will find the previous recording in the YouTube playlist. You're also free to join. These runs bi-weekly just after the slot for the release call that's currently on hold. And I invite everybody indeed to join this call to dig into items related to Model Registry that we discuss in the general overall Kubeflow community call that runs every Tuesday. Before we officially get started with the agenda items, I just wanted to take a moment to, is there anybody new on the call that want to introduce themselves? Please, you can raise a hand and just introduce yourself to the community.
Yeah, I guess I. Sorry, you go ahead, Masri.
Okay.
Hi everyone, this is Manashwini and I'm tuning in from India. I'll let you go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
You just say raise hand. Raise hand now. I'm Mike Curley, joining from Massachusetts in the United States, UI developer with Red Hat.
And I'm Jill Palavin, also calling in from Massachusetts, also UI developer at Red Hat.
Hi, this is Adnan here. I'm also kind of based out with the team and from Bangalore, India.
Thank you everybody for joining, and thank you indeed for joining this call also. Is there anybody else who wants to introduce yourself? And Pushpa, please.
Yeah, hi, this is Pushpa. I'm from India, so I'm also a UI developer at Red Hat.
Thank you. Welcome. Anybody else? Okay, so it's like if there is anybody that sort of like at any point during the meeting want to introduce themselves to the community or wants to add any agenda item, please feel free to run it. I'm just copying in the chat as well the agenda. So if you have any points that you would like to discuss with the community, this is indeed we convene every other week. And so like this meeting is governed like with the Kubeflow with the CNCF Code of Conduct. Without further ado, I think that we can start to go through some of the agenda items. One that we're keeping tabs on is the Kubeflow graduation. We don't have anything specific at this moment for the Model Registry. Indeed, as per previous call, I just wanted to call out indeed for Manaswini, Dipanshu, and Alessio for all the help with the recent CVE flag notes as well. This was greatly important. I'm also happy to announce that at this moment in the security tab for the Model Registry repo on GitHub, we don't have any code scan notes. So everything is accounted. So indeed, also Manaswini, I know that you implemented some recent changes. So thanks a lot for these ones. And indeed, great job from everybody also as well, anybody who's reviewing it. I know that also, yeah, sorry for being so annoying with many of you. It's like, please take it that is my role to sort of like babysit that page on the repo and sort of like try to find somebody who can help me sort it out, because indeed sometimes it requires a lot of in-depth knowledge. We have indeed sort of like, I think that we are in a good shape overall for the graduation. We've been speaking with Heather also last week, indeed, at the Tuesday call for anybody that is interested to follow the overall graduation meetings. The only thing that I just wanted to raise that we just have some FOSSA integration that maybe we are likely to recreate since we've been using a previous mechanism in the past that now the Kubeflow community is migrating to a new GitHub Action integration. So there will be some changes, but nothing specifically that delegates to an action item. So this concludes for the first part. We don't have currently any item from the Kubeflow steering committee regarding this specifically for this working group. So if anybody has any question, please raise your hand, or if you have any later question, don't hesitate to indeed reach out on Sense Slack or on this call. Moving on to the next item. So for those of you observing the Kubeflow Model Registry repo, we've been merging some quite bigger features and capabilities, or indeed some work, specifically about some great experimentation run and tracking. This is the work led by Dheeraj and Sydney, as well as other contributors. There are continuous updates to the model catalog, and there is a great work of removing the Google MLMD dependency from the older code path, led by Alessio. There are indeed, since we merged this bigger PR more recently, I've sent out a message as well in the Slack channel that the next designated model registry version is going to be 030. So at least we signal it to anybody who's looking at the container image versions in case that they need. There is no particular action required because from the previous versions, we have already Alessio already made sure that the migration happens. So this is only just removing the last tiny bits. So I just wanted to take the chance of today's meeting to give some heads up. And this is the Slack thread in case that anybody has any questions or some doubt later. So next version is going to be designated as 030 unless anybody will raise any concern about it. Checking if there are any questions about it. Cool. So we can move swiftly to the next item. I think that the Model Registry UI team want to share about some development status update. I don't know, Mike, do you want to speak to this point?
Sure. Yeah, just kind of a quick overview. So we are working on, one of the major things we're working on is getting ready to contribute a model catalog UI, which I think the backend probably has been discussed before, sort of a mechanism for giving users a way to discover models and register them to their registries. And while working on that, we found some nicer design patterns that we want to also adopt in the existing model registry UI. So that is part of what Manaswini is going to demo is some of the changes we've made there to kind of keep those experiences consistent and continue to refine, make model registry a nicer UI experience. So working on those contributions, I'll probably have more to update next time on the status of that model catalog stuff. But I can defer to, sorry, editor's asking, Mike, the source of truth for those models will be via config map. Yes, so I think the backend team could maybe talk a bit more about this, but there's a new model catalog API that there is a config map that is used to configure what sources are behind that API, but that config map is not going to contain the model metadata itself. It's going to be pointers to where that API can go find models, and then the UI will consume that API and it's abstracted away. The backend will handle how that model metadata is sourced.
Yeah, because my question is like when the first installation on the Kubeflow, how those models will be populated by the user?
The first installation of Kubeflow. I think that there's been discussion about having the operator provide a default, right, Matteo? For the
no, let me take on. Yeah, Dheeraj, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think you're going to address the same thing, Matteo, about the operator, right? So go ahead.
So the point is that in Kubeflow, we have the manifest. So let me just it. So what will happen is that we have some sample manifests that are available. So if you want to go manifest customize, then you go to options, you go to the catalog. And in here, you will see that there is a sample catalog. And
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's like this is the one that can be default customized. Also, if you go in the catalog and in the README, you will find the options that instruct on how the user can populate either this YAML catalog or some GraphQL sources. So because indeed is like we wanted to give the option to the user to have some default models that likely we can point to Hugging Face if we so want, and then sort of like anybody is free to customize.
Awesome.
Yeah, and there's on the roadmap. There's also talk about a UI for a settings page to allow the user to customize those sources from the UI. Something we're looking at.
I would just add, do we would you like to let the Kubeflow community know that there's this mechanism and maybe get input from the community about what models they would like to see there? Because I know the default catalog for Red Hat would be different than the Kubeflow one, right?
Yeah, I didn't mean to jump the gun there. I was kind of trying to think about where the sources of the UI enhancements to the existing model registry are coming from, because it was related to that effort. But I don't know if anyone else has things they want to share about that, or if we want to just say more coming soon, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be very helpful. Like if anybody has like some good default models they'd like to include in there, like I mean, we could do that, especially once we get the Hugging Face integration worked out. Like what's in that sample catalog right now is really just kind of a lame demo, but it gets you something to see it all work. So I mean that's all that's really there now, but it's pretty flexible. Like you can add anything else you want there, and I guess we just didn't want to presume what people would want to see in the catalog. But if there's like a clear, we really need these 10 models from anybody, like let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
I was going to say, we should bring this up in, maybe the community call, or let people know in the Kubeflow community itself that, there's this mechanism now in Kubeflow, default distribution, right? So if the community wants to see certain models there, then this is their chance to.
Let me also like to guide a little bit on this one. So the model catalog is not enabled by default because we don't even have Model Registry enabled by default. So I think that the question is like when we start to work on the action item for having Model Registry enabled by default in the model in a Kubeflow installation, then at that moment we can verify what will be the sample catalog that the user, that's sort of like the point want to see. How does that sound? Because today it's sort of like we don't have a way to demonstrate what is about the catalog right now.
Yeah, it's just about being good community members, right? That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Whenever a user enables it, right, we would like it to be a good representation of the community, instead of just having Red Hat samples in there.
Yeah, I'm pushing this because this is a super cool feature that would be nice for the community to have. That's so interesting, or have this working.
Right.
Like when install Model Registry, I got 1 or 2 or 3 models available there, just to us to be able to exercise the flow, especially when we're doing the recording, because then we can attract users and later people can extend.
Yeah. And there might be models that are more popular in the Kubeflow community at large.
Yes, but the point that I'm trying to make is how do we make the people understand what models are we asking for? What I mean by that is that they will currently be saying, it's like, what is the model catalog compared to the model registry? So I think that this is a good point for the default installation of model registry in the Kubeflow. This is one of the items that we have on the roadmap. So if I go to the roadmap here, so pull request milestones roadmap. So in here, I think that one of the subtasks could be like, okay, it's like if we enable model catalog by default as part of this default installation, then we get a model catalog. What this model catalog should populate it with, and therefore sort of like a user will get it. So it's like I think that this is a good way that we can track it. So it's like if you want to open a ticket, Eder as well, or Mike, I think this is a good way, because we really need to have this UI enabled by default from that installation too.
And about your point, Mike, no worries about this. Is the point for us to discuss this sort of stuff. Like this model catalog is something that was spending a lot, but I think we are starting the conversation of how to include this. And I always start with the point, like when you do an installation in Kubeflow, right? When I do the next release of the Kubeflow and include Model Registry there, what do we want to demo in the UI? And then I go in opposite direction. Like we need the catalog, we need to show the catalog because it's cool. How I populate that catalog with some samples.
Because you have two options. Either you populate it with just a model that is sort of like a kind of like a placeholder model, and that will be one way, or sort of like indeed we leave it open for people to send a PR with the model that we want, like we engaged for the adopters as well.
And especially because I want them, Mike, to ask us a question. Now, how I deploy a model for the model registry?
Right.
I'm looking for this question.
Now, to this point, I think that before in order for this question to be raised efficiently, we needed to explain what some model catalogization.
Exactly. Yep.
So it's like first is like we need a way to showcase this UI to the community. Say on the Tuesday call, if you wanted to demo that one, then you can say it's like this is one of the recent UI changes that is coming. Is like, and because of that, is there any default model that you want? Otherwise, simply the people will not kind of understand what you're referring to with the default model catalog. Maybe. But good point that maybe we can add it in here.
Makes sense. But yeah, that was kind of all I had for just a general overview. I think that Jill, you had added a bullet here about environment variables.
Yeah. Also, in context, for more UI stuff, we're about to add some experiments to Model Registry is the plan. In my UI team here at Red Hat. And so a lot of things that we do on the dashboard, because eventually Model Registry is, going to get sort of incorporated into the dashboard, ODH, Open Data Hub. And we would like to put some sort of feature flag in there. I mean, the thought is to use an environment variable. And has that been done before? Or who should I talk to? Or
So that would be a question for either and the team working on the dashboard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did not hear that very well.
Oh, I just said it's a question for either, and
Yeah, it's me.
The UI team.
For either. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I heard for either
yeah.
the dashboard. I was
Yeah.
sorry.
No, not either. Either. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't care much on this call about ODH and the integration because this is a Red Hat concern and this is the public model registry call. But asking about your question, the way that we do in the model registry, that we have two versions, right? One, there is our standalone. There is a standalone app that we are delivering for our experimental and for incremental. This have everything enabled by default. So for instance, this catalog and this model catalog, it will be there and you do all our development there. Is a standalone mode. And we have another mode that we call integrated mode, that this is the mode that goes towards Kubeflow, and this is where we promote features. So feel free to talk with Mike here. Mike understand how this process works.
Mike Turley?
Yes, right. And then we can basically put all the requirements over our standalone because it's where you play, and you use the standalone on Y for two things. Just everybody, because I have new people here. Let's talk for 2 minutes, Mateo. The first one is our development environment where we can try out everything. And we also want to have a speed up development mode without having to have Kubeflow installed. And the second thing that someday we want also to promote Model Registry as a standalone deployment. So this is why we keep this standalone mode. This is where the place where we can put everything but not everything, what Mike and Diraj and Mateo thinks that is feasible. So in the Y is Mike and others, and in the backend is Mateo. And please feel, but we can do via issues. Put everything there, and then and then later we can figure out what we put on the Kubeflow. Just use the standalone version for this.
So you're saying use the standalone version. Don't worry about feature flags. Just do it.
Yes, on the standalone, on the Kubeflow that we call integrated mode, we are more careful because for integrated mode, that's why when push we need docs, we need everything else.
Yeah, Jill, if you want, we can follow up. But there is just a pretty simple conditional. You can have code that renders like only just if is standalone, basically, and you can put anything that's sort of experimental and in progress under that, and that should be all you need.
Oh, that would be great. And we're meeting on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So we can talk then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent.
Thank you, and thank you for joining the call. You're super cool to have experimentation here.
Thank you. All right, I'm good.
Yeah, and you guys are talking with experimentation. We just you to be aware on the community. There is another call on the Kubeflow trainer that they talk about the SDK right now, and we are moving this for another working group that I'm going to launch soon, called an ML Experience Working Group. That we're going to have the SDK conversations there.
So for the Kubeflow SDK.
Yes, the Kubeflow SDK. Yeah, for the Kubeflow SDK.
Okay, so that is moving into its own dedicated work.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. Is there
That's going to affect
already?
Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So sorry, my question was like, is the charter already defined? I mean, what is in scope and what is in scope, not in scope?
This is not defined yet, Mateo. So the goal is like the Kubeflow trainer SDK will move to this working group, the first step, right? Then we need to figure out a proposal and go for each working group, for instance, to how we consume the model registry SDK, for instance.
Mhm.
And then inside the, I have two hats here. Inside the model registry working group, we need to define how we're going to keep maintaining the SDK. Imagine that this is the case, and then we need to figure out on this the ML experience working group how we are going to consume this SDK in an integrated way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm just waiting and due because this conversation is for experiment track is starting on the trainer, so there is a lot of work on the other working group as well.
Thank you for the detail. Dheeraj, you had some questions also.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing. Like, how does this affect the Model Registry SDK? Because we want to be part of that conversation. And yeah, it sounds like you guys are just starting off right now and focusing on trainer right now.
Yeah, we are starting. I think we need to. The main thing that we need to decide together, because it'll be a long, you know how this conversation will take long. Like what is our delivery model of the SDK? Because on the wax perspective, I would like to be seen by the user by a single SDK, but how we implement it behind the scenes is another conversation.
Yeah, but thank you for mentioning that there will be a new working group established.
Yep.
And for it. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. So, Mike, do you have any other point that you wanted to add to this item?
No, nothing really. Just excited to be here and be contributing, be a member of Kubeflow.
Thank you, and thank you all that are joining today. So next up, we have Manaswini for some demo. Do you want to share the screen, Manaswini?
Yeah, sure. 1 minute. Okay. So this is just a demo of what we've been doing. We includes Juntao, there's Robert, Pushpa, Mike here in this call, and Arshin, Julia, all of us, and including me. And we have been working on a redesign of Model Registry the past few weeks. The redesign includes this column in the registered models page, and we have the overview item here. And if you click on the model, then it will take you to this overview page. Earlier, it was the versions page. And now we have this whole new card and this latest versions card as well. That is like just to make sure that things are in one place and it's streamlined, and you know kind of you don't have to look for a certain thing. You can look inside the card and everything is there. It's not scattered everywhere like the earlier version. And the same goes for versions. We have this model details, and this is like a card of its own, and version details is a card of its own as well. The same goes for this new dropdown. You can see that if in case it has two versions, then the latest one has this cool new label. And there are some other changes coming up in which in case you want to do any changes in this specific card, the model details card, then it is going to reflect across all the versions of the model. So the user needs to know that any changes that you do here is not for the version details, it's for the model details, and it is going to reflect across all versions. So yeah, that's new. And there was this is what Mike was mentioning about the model catalog page. Now it is like just the the mock data that we're working on, something of the sort. But yeah, this is like subject to change. That's all from me.
Thank you so much, Manaswini, for the demo. And indeed, also additional kudos also because of the time zone. So really appreciated that one. Sort of like, let's not make it a habit. We just want to make sure that sort of like we do it in case that we feel that we wanted to have more demos and this is becoming a time zone issue. We can always accommodate for different agenda changes as well. So this is something that we can do. And also, indeed, as mentioned in the chat, it's like if you want to submit a recording and somebody sort of like play it for you, please also feel free. I know that sort of like sometimes delivering a recorded demo, you may feel that you're not represented, but typically we sort of like we call out for the one who recorded the demo as well. So please don't. I just wanted to have it on record as well. So we do really appreciate live demos. So even double kudos as well for this. So really great. There is a question from Alessio. Sorry, folks. I prefer if you have a question, maybe it's like you can also mention this on the recording. So because during the recording there will not be the chat sort of like recorded. So Alessio, I don't know if you want to raise your question.
Yeah, thank you, Matteo. Question for about the demo. I see in the version list that the latest version was last in the list. Shouldn't be the first one.
Yeah, that's right. We will take this up and maybe do this in the next iteration. But thank you for your input.
Thank you.
So it's like basically it's like Manaswini is like if people want to try it out, that will be the case that it's sort of like if they use the instructions that we have on the repo, in theory, this is the current UI that they get once they populate, of course, the model registry with their own data. Is this understanding correct?
Yeah, that's right. You'll just have to run make dev start, and this is the UI that's going to lead to.
And if people have any questions, it's like I just remind everybody, you can reach out for Manaswini and on the team, both in the CNCF Slack, but also on the repository. So it's like you will find that there are some pull requests and issues being logged for this one. So you can reach out. Is there anything more, Manaswini or team, that you wanted to highlight to the community?
Nope, that's all. Thank you. I'm just very happy to be here. I'll record the demo next time.
Thank you so much again for presenting, and live demos also super appreciated. Excellent. Next item, we have Dheeraj, several API announcement. Do you want to take on this point?
Yeah, this is not going to take a lot of time. It's just a heads up to the community in general that we have put forward several proposals for enhancing the current Model Registry API, both in terms of improving the user experience with the API, things like adding support for selecting the fields of properties that you want from the API, things such as just fetching the custom properties for a resource, and we are slowly going to add more bulk operations and stuff so that you do not have to make as many granular calls to the API and stuff. So if you have similar requirements or have wanted to see these enhancements and have comments about the usage and stuff, we would appreciate it if you can take a look at these proposals and add any feedback. That's it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dheeraj, for the heads up. I've added the links, so in case that people going through the agenda items, they can follow up. But indeed, otherwise, they will find it under the Kubeflow/Model Registry repo with those numbers.
Thanks.
Excellent. There are no other agenda items logged. Does anybody else have any last-minute item that they want to discuss? Don't be shy. if you have. Manaswini, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. I'm pretty sure I saw an invite for APAC folks. I'm not sure if that's active or not. Is there an APAC version of this call?
We don't have an APAC version of this call because simply we taken the only slot. I mean, this is running bi-weekly like the Model Registry. No, this is running bi-weekly like the Kubeflow release team meeting, and this was the only slot remaining available. If we feel like we want an APAC slot and run every sort of like one bi-weekly this time and another bi-weekly another time, if there is, please feel free to raise it as a GitHub issue. We can count how many are planning to participate, and I'm more than happy to. Fortunately, myself being in Europe, I can manage on even earlier time if we prefer, every other week. And I'm pretty sure that also for if we are being tactical enough, people from the US Atlantic coast can also coordinate the meeting in case that Europe is not available as well. So we can definitely do that if there is enough audience for it.
Yep, cool.
All right. Okay, so with that, anybody else who didn't have a chance to introduce themselves earlier and want to introduce themselves now? Don't be shy in case I give a couple of more seconds if anybody wants. Okay, so this is last chance for any last item before wrapping up the call. But indeed, thank you for indeed a lot, Mike, Manaswini, anybody as well that contributed both to today's meeting, but also for the recent changes to the Kubeflow Model Registry. And going once, going twice. Thank you all. For those everybody interested, every Tuesday there is a Kubeflow community call. You can find it in the kubeflow.org website for the community call, and every other week runs it as a graduation call. I just thought of pointing it out in addition to this meeting. Thanks again, everybody, and I will see you either tomorrow or in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.